Good. Oh, there we go.
All right, hold on. There's that. I don't want that. I want this, I think. Yeah, that's my map of Shymate. All right, and the last thing I need is just a rough notebook somewhere. And then I will be ready to commence rumbling.
Sweet.
Okay, you have, as a group, tracked and travelled your way north from the port town of Porthmarn to the moorland market town of Shymate. You are here in pursuit of a kidnapped young woman, the daughter of your patron, be that long-term or on a freelance basis. Lord Goss, the young lady's name being Caitlin. You have determined early on and had your suspicions confirmed that she was kidnapped by a group of lizard folk, although their intentions remain mystery to you. The lizard folk have carried her north to Shymate and secreted her somewhere. You're unsure where, and have found yourselves in attendance of the largest annual gathering of lizard folk across the whole nation as they descend on the low parts of the moor near the ancient market town, the meeting place of the roads and the distant travellers who might normally be hermits, nomadic travellers, and somewhat shy of other people. It is midsummer tomorrow, and this is why they gather. This is why people come together to celebrate. And this is a date you have learned may be significant both to the lizard folks and to perhaps other forces afoot. In being invited to the lizard folk camp, the Mycandavu, as it translates, or as it is explained to you, you have been introduced to an older lizardman named Sasakath, practicing in her respects and himself uncovering secrets and putting his own puzzle pieces together bit by bit with the clues as they are laid out before him. And he has stated that Caitlin herself is the threat that they are seeking to address, and has invited you to return to the camp at dusk, where parley will be held, and Caitlin's fate will be discussed between the lizard folk themselves, who seem to hold her. It's now late morning, getting towards midday, so you have a few hours to kill. It'll take roughly probably an hour to ride back to town if you'd like to. What would you like?
Yes, I would.
Yeah. All right.
So it's going to take an hour to get back to town.
Do we
Midday.
still had to? Did we still? Oh shit! We had some people to speak to, right? We spoke to
That
the
lady with the
priest.
lot.
The lock lady, yes. That was probably not related to this, so it's probably not urgent, but yeah.
Yeah, in the market, in the quadrant of peddlers and market traders, you met a kind of specialist locksmith that you might wish to address with something that you've uncovered in a previous session. As you stand to go, because you have still been in Sasakath's teepee, he beckons and says, "When you return to the gathering, you should wear these, as they will mark you as guests." And he presents from a bag 4 white flowers. They look quite fragile, but they are intact and clearly, recently plucked or well preserved, close to a recently plucked form.
All right, thank him, and
Would
gently
I
take them and store them somewhere if we can.
would I know what flowers they are? Being a brew ahead.
Yeah, they aren't literally a daisy, but they're
Right.
they're nothing too special. They may well have been plucked from one of the higher hills on the moor.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not going to give you the name because I can't be bothered.
Edelweiss.
Like a Moreland honeysuckle or some shit like that.
Yeah, they're not quite Edelweiss, but they're just a nice white flower.
Lovely.
Your horses are tied up where you left them, outside Sestakath's den. Your horses are looking, hungry. They're chewing well on what they've had. You might remark that they've been ridden an awful lot over the past few days and worked quite hard.
Yeah, poor little buggers.
Yeah, make sure that stable boy feeds them when we get back into town.
I've warmed to my beast after all the riding we've done.
I think we'll head back to the inn, spend a few hours just chilling out, preparing. Got a couple of spells I might like to cast and get ready for this evening.
Yeah, you can mount up. Would anybody else like to do anything while you're at the lizard camp now, during daylight hours?
Hmm.
No, there's nothing else I want to do here. If we have to come back, we haven't seen any sight or sound of her, so.
Yeah.
Can I take notes, Jed, just potentially asking here for a visual description of the fighters of the lizard men? Like visibly guardy kind of people.
Yeah, so everyone that you see looks there's no one that you see who looks like they couldn't be dangerous. Even Sasakath, who is old and comparatively frail, the skin beneath his scales is looser on his bones than some of the others, still has jagged, sharp claws on his fingers. Still moves with a deftness and a precision that could probably be very quick if he wanted to. Several the people that you see are armed with simple spears, hunting spears, and many are, they have proper swords. Some of the swords look very shiny, like they've possibly been bought quite recently, and this is a clue that you've had.
Mm-hmm.
There doesn't seem to be anybody who is like actively standing guard, actively guarding any particular tent, anything like that. And you'll note that alongside having had one of them described or translated as a bodyguard for Sasakath. There's nobody actually standing watch over his tent from what you can see. And your assessment of these things, you know how to be observant of this.
Mm-hmm.
And can you remind us, sorry, Jed, of the scale of this encampment?
It's a few hundred head, maybe more than 500 head, but probably less than 1,000.
So, like, we could be talking about 200, 300, 400 tents.
Yeah, that's reasonable.
Cool.
Huh.
So yes, it looks like a mighty dangerous place to get in a fight. That's what I took from that.
Yeah.
Yeah, you've got no reason to think that anybody you've seen there wouldn't at least have the potential to be dangerous in a way that being in a humanoid town, in a civilized town, doesn't feel that way. You don't have eyes on you in the same way. The glances that come your way are different. They are harder to pass, but they do feel like the glances of predatory animals as much as of dulled and disinterested townsfolk.
Hmm.
All right, well, back to town if we're not doing anything else.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm. Yes. To down.
Just pouring water down my throat. But yeah, the ride back to town doesn't take too long. You're able to find your way back through the camp. You know, it's just in one direction now. You're not having to kind of pick things out. Although you could clearly see what was described as the mammoth tent. There is a tent a little further in towards the center from Sasakath's tent, which is a large canvas propped up by, as you could make it out, 4 mammoth tusks. And that itself is large and guyed out and, you know, structured in other ways as well. But would probably quite comfortably sit, you know, 30, maybe 50 at a squeeze.
So, in character, but I'm not going to do a funny voice. We're planning on meeting. Was it the elders or something? Was that what it was described as?
Some sort of
leaders of the
debate amongst their
clan.
council.
The council.
They seem to have been. They seem to have factions within their number.
Oh,
And Sasakath implied that he himself hadn't ordered the kidnapping, but I think somebody else, one of the other kind of not elders or clan leaders did.
and we're planning on trying to
I think
convince
it's the
them
consensus.
to release her.
Yes.
It's the sort of,
But she's
an unlikely scenario.
she seems well, they think she's important for the ritual.
I think she's dangerous to them.
I
What
think
are the-
one of the groupings probably has the same following as our old friend Movis, and
Hmm.
therefore their interests are aligned.
Yeah.
Possibly. So if it's only one of their number of the various clans that feel this way, then there could be a reasonable solution to this, a peaceful solution.
As we're wandering
Well-
back through the camp, how many obvious clan sigils, colours, whatever markings they have, are there that we can kind of count offhand? Not all of them, obviously.
I will probably make perception checks. Anyone that speaks Draconic can make this check at advantage.
All right then.
Nope.
14.
13.
17. Oops.
11 plus. What the fuck is my perception again? For 15.
17 was the highest there.
Yeah. Jethro's quite
You can
perceptive.
make. There are different styles in the way the way individuals are dressed. It's hesitant to call them people, but they are dressed. Some of them have, they wear their strapping in different styles for the way things are strapped to their belts or around their waist, the way that horses are saddled, things like that. And so you're able to pick up patterns and things, but things are mingled together as far as you can tell. You can't work out what might delineate, one tent from the one next to it as to whether, right, okay, these two are on the same side or not. These two are.
It's not obvious.
It's not obvious who's of which thing. Some of the lizard folk have slight differentiation in colours, so they're not all a kind of rich emerald green. There are silvery, shimmery sections. Some have blue around their chins, or orangey tints, flecks of what might look like rust, everything like that. And so, but again, things aren't uniform. You will see what might look like couples, wildly different colouring. You know, it's certainly kind of in conversation with one another, leaning close.
Well, one group of these could still be 100 warriors for all we know. 100 head.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Our only other option is to find out where they've taken Caitlin.
What if...
I could try and cast some magics on some of them to find if one of them will tell us where they were taken, but it's not guaranteed success.
What if the guard or the military outpost?
I think they were pretty unhelpful. Didn't you visit them?
Well, they were unhelpful because I was asking things that they're not
She was
inclined to
being a
help with.
douchebag.
But,
Well, how many of them is there?
Jed, how many of them were there?
You met literally two.
Yeah,
There's
okay. So
certain-
how many would I have thought could be encamped there, looking at the place?
Like a platoon, a company.
Yeah, it's it's not nearly so many as there've been there. A few tents, and so off the
Like
top of
30
your head,
men or something.
yeah, 20 to 30.
Even
No.
that's not going to make enough of a difference.
No.
Yeah.
We have to put the fear of gods into them. We have
Need
to
to-
let them know what worshipping this demon will do.
I don't think they were worshipping a demon. I think they're more scared that she's going to summon a demon who's going to slaughter their entire village or their entire clans.
That's what I got from the conversation. They think she's evil.
Yeah.
Huh.
And I pretty much promised them that, if it comes to it, if they do release her, that we would be willing to put her down if she was going to summon a beast to slaughter them all.
There's no pretty much. You did promise that.
Huh.
Notably, so the phrase that Sasakath used was "she is the threat." But as to whether that even has, much to do with your recent eldritch encounters,
Yes. Well,
She's
we
the
could
threat.
tell them that the only way to deal with the threat is if the father wields the blade. Or there has to be a specific blade, and it's in the town, or something to that effect.
We could ask to speak to her.
Well, they ain't going to let us do that now. The best off waiting to see what's going to happen later. Otherwise,
Agreed.
it's all go fucking tits up. Just be prepared to set the place on fire and make a fucking run for it.
That's what I mean. I don't think we'll make it out alive.
Yeah.
Well,
And if we don't make it out alive, then we take as many of them as we can.
what about...
I mean, I'm up for a TPK at this stage in the campaign if that's the way you guys want to play it. But
Yeah, I don't think we can take them.
I've got more planned after this.
Yeah, great campaign, Jed. Thanks.
We need eyes in the air,
Mission
so we can see
accomplished.
what tent she's been taken out of.
Well, what if we don't return to town and we just hang around here and find some food and you put up your magical flying bird thing?
I have to be really close.
Yeah, that's why I was saying we stay.
But too close. So close as to be suspicious.
100 feet, isn't it? Be a bird.
But I'm just not going to tell.
Which is what?
exact numbers.
30 meters? Yeah,
Yeah, it's fuck all.
Yeah.
But maybe Tor can rustle something up. Yes. How about we head an hour down the road, or
Yeah.
into the wilderness and just camp. It is moors, so
Or
we'll try find a outcropping or something.
how far was town?
hour.
Yeah, it's an hour or so's ride.
Yeah, we're going to be back this evening, so it's
Yeah.
not even resting at this point. It's just
Hiding out.
And let's say you could fit in a long rest. You've got maybe let's say 8 hours. It's going to be midday by the time you get back into town.
But we just rested this morning.
You did
don't
very
think
firmly, yeah. None of you have really done anything to expend. So if you want to spend
Anything.
the whole day sat in the hotel bar, then that's fine. But
Well, is there an outcropping somewhere nearby that we passed on the way here that we could go set up camp behind it?
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
observe.
the moorland is undulating, so yeah, you can kind of divert off the road or take a slightly different road and go and find a higher section, some rock, that sort of thing. Yeah, absolutely. If you wanted
Okay.
to. As to
let's
how
do that
close
then.
you get, I mean, you're certainly not going to get to a position where you've got decent earshot. But if you wanted to watch movement around the camp and stuff like that, you could get a sense of things. But it's like
Yeah, but if Tor could call some animal,
yeah,
or
sure.
himself turn into an
And
animal and do some recce.
yeah, that would be a way of doing it. I don't think you can fly quite yet yourself, Vic, but
No, I can't.
with an animal handling check and a beast sense, you could definitely get, a bird or a hare or something.
Yeah, the
But,
first thing is to find one, innit? I
Yeah,
wouldn't trust
well,
the
yeah.
hair going in there.
No.
Lizard to fucking eat it.
Yeah.
blue weasel again. No. Don't.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jed, can I just try and maybe ascertain movements and possibly work out the ritual tent / site?
Yeah, that'd be all right. So if that's what you guys would like to do, to divert off the road and find a
So can we
high
just
point.
wear the flower they give us and we just wander around the camp?
I mean,
You've not been told to leave. You've been told to return, but you've not been outright told.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Maybe
Yeah.
we could
Just,
just wander around and
just
get
wander
around
around.
it and
Maybe
maybe
not provoke them, but
talk to some lizard people, ask if anyone's got any food, offer some
Yeah.
drinks.
if we come across any animals, I could use me beast sense and
I
might be able to get some information.
Did I buy 2 war picks? Because I have 2 in my inventory.
Yes, I think you did. I'm not sure.
Cool. I'm just gonna offer them around. See if anybody wants one. In
Well, why don't you
exchange.
wait until somebody clamps up and they might be persuaded?
Yeah, as a gift. Alright, I've got
Yeah.
these weapons as gifts. I think we can persuade some
Okay,
people.
well, let's stay together.
Alright.
Treat it like a festival.
Don't drink anything that anyone's left lying down.
Yeah, the crowd here isn't purely lizard folk, and that's something I need to stress. You will see, amongst other things, you will see people who look a bit like tourists coming by and seeing things, and that festival analogy isn't unreasonable. People with wineskins. There are drow covered in black leather, sprawled in the dirt, and drinking heavily. In odd places. There are, and drow aren't a common sight, but there are free drow here.
Cool.
There are humans trying to kind of peddle and pester various lizard folk, and don't seem to be getting anywhere as you make your way out of the place. But they're trying their luck nonetheless. They've shown up with baskets of food and things like that they're trying to sell. Mostly they're not getting places, but maybe they're not asking the right questions. It's hard to tell with that. And then there are people playing music. There are people that have shown up. The kind of arseholes that show up at someone else's event, play their own
Drum
music, that sort of
circles.
thing. Yeah,
I remember
exactly.
that bollocks.
Yeah. And then the lizard folk themselves are being sociable. They are chattering. They are throwing balls. They are mock fighting with sticks and with ropes. They are practicing tightrope between poles, that sort of thing.
Fucking hippies.
On my wanders around, Jed, can I use an insight roll to try and find people that might be on edge? Maybe people who are, for example, slightly anxious about the results of the council vote, i.e., the people who've taken a.
You mean lizard folk specifically, don't you?
Yes.
Yeah. You can, but I will warn you that it is going to be a difficult role to do that.
Okay. Just trying to find 50 people.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I fell.
Yeah.
Okay. What was your total?
Like 7.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, you have a sense of, basically actually you finding it quite difficult to pass the social structure in terms of hierarchy that's going on here. Like you see people coming, lizard folk going and talking to one another and things like that, but the idea of the sense as to which ones are listening to one another, especially because I don't think you speak Draconic.
Nope.
You're not really able to work out what, the body language or pass any of the conversations, I'm afraid.
Do we notice any little beasties wandering around? Any little, like, lizards with them, like wild animal sort of shit?
There are chickens in cages. There are animals tied up, like livestock. There are deer. There are horses. There are cows and pigs, tied up outside various tents. There are, as I've said, hares and other birds in cages and in crates, in different places. Nothing roaming free other than insects, really.
Do we make any friends?
That's a different question. And so is your intent to actually go and approach anybody?
Yes, I think so. Just talking to people like nonsensical crap. Oh, isn't this lovely? Oh, everyone always says the lizard folk are weird and horrible, but I think this is brilliant.
So, is your intent? So, run me through. How might you pick somebody that you would approach?
Maybe like a group that looks like they're having fun, maybe with some tourists there or something with them.
Yeah. Okay. So you can spot what might be a parent. There are smaller, kind of lighter weight lizard folk there, doling out soup from a cauldron into bowls, and then the parent ladles out some more bowls and puts them on a bench ahead of you all, and looks over and, looking at their hand and then up at you, beckons over. But there's a slightly clumsiness, as though they're not sure whether
Leia.
themselves whether that's polite to beckon, but they beckon you over regardless.
Thank you.
Eat some of this soup and be welcome.
Thank you. I feel very welcome. Oh, this is delicious. What is it?
Soup.
Just soup. They're just giving me a bowl of water.
No. So you taste it, and there is potato in it, and there is meat in it, and it's got that kind of thickness that is broth.
Oh, lovely. Do I have any duck soup left?
I think you guys have eaten the duck soup for a couple of meals now, right?
Definitely one.
I think we had. Do you say it was 2 portions worth, and we had one meat? We had breakfast with it, like when we were camping.
Yeah, I think we just had one.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
think we might
So
have some
we'll say
left.
you've got. Yeah.
I will offer them some duck soup in return and say, yeah, this is the soup of my people.
You cooked up your own people and put it in their soup.
Jeffro, you know this is the duck soup.
Oh, yeah. Like traditional, I get it.
Yes. Please take this and enjoy it another day.
And they take what it's served in a little cauldron. Is that right?
Yeah, I'll like put a bowl full of it.
Yeah. Just if you're going to scoop out in a little bowl. And they take the bowl and they sniff at it. This smells flavorful.
Is very nice. What
Tell
town
me
was it
what
we
is
were in?
inside it. You got it from Penfaden? Yeah.
Yes. There's a lovely restaurant owned by the people from the nation I'm from. Shu in the very far east. I'm not sure if you've heard of it. It's very far away. It's a traditional duck soup. I couldn't tell you how they make it, but it's easily my favourite.
With ducks,
It's
I
my
imagine.
gift to you. Well, ducks and shallots and other things, I'm sure.
Tell me what makes it your favourite.
The flavour.
I will taste it. And they, lift the bowl to a mouth and pour a little into their mouth and lower it. The flavour is as expected. And lower it down onto the bench.
Sorry, am I talking to a robot?
No, but this is a sense of like the interactions that you might have had with many of the lizard folk. There is a kind of gap between what they want to communicate and what you're used to, how you're used to dealing with people. And so
Yeah,
their
got
sense of politeness and the information, especially because this one might not speak common more than once or twice a year.
Yeah, got you.
And actually hopefully the kind of slightly alienness of the demeanor is coming through there, and this is it exactly. When you're looking around the group, it's very hard to pass what
Yes.
body language is coming across, what intonation would be in their voice, what is meant by things. They're quite different than townspeople and civilized people.
Yeah. Anyway, I'll say my name. I am Titus, and point at myself, and then point at them. What is your name? DM on the spot.
Yeah, no, it's fine. Yeah. My name is Fippic.
Epic. Pleased to meet you. And I will offer my hand.
They look at your hand.
I'll turn to Jeffro and I'll offer him my hand, and we'll do a handshake, and then I'll offer it back to him.
Predator handshake.
Yeah.
And I am Jethro. This is how we greet each other, with our hands.
The lizard person's eyes flick between the two of you. And then
We're
they
weird.
stick their tongue out and lick their nose. And then they drink a bit more of your soup.
Fair enough.
Thank you for the soup. You've been most kind. I feel very welcome.
And then the lizard person turns back to what you might guess are their children and speaks to them in Dragonborn, in Draconic, very quickly. Those of you who speak Draconic will understand this, being along the lines of,
I think any of us do.
Vic speaks Draconic, is that right?
Yep.
Oh, you do?
I do
Gav.
as
Hey.
well.
Oh, and Gav.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah, I
yeah.
forgot that. Sorry, from last
Yeah,
session.
both
Yeah.
of
two
us
of
do.
you
Like
do,
new
that's what it's-
fools. Yeah.
Yeah, and the Draconic speech is warmer, and once you understand the nuance of the language a little bit, it would roughly translate to right, and that's how we interact with townsfolk. It's really important to be polite to them, and reciprocate gifts. Isn't it nice that they gave us something? Don't you think that's wonderful? And that they tried to show us some of their customs as well. And the little lizard people on the ground all look up at you. And
Maybe don't look up at me, but yeah.
yeah, well, they're sat cross-legged with their soup, and they all look up at you in between the four of you, and then they go back to eating.
I'll give a
If
little
nothing
bit of a
else, they've
wave.
determined that you're not a threat, and you're not something they can eat, and so they don't care terribly.
Okay, well, that was a successful foray, I guess.
Yep.
I'd like to wander around towards some of the kind of male gatherings, or if there's groups of fighters, or like that type of look.
Any wrestling
And-
competitions going on?
This is it. There are groups who are wrestling. There are groups who are play fighting with sticks. And there are groups who are, there are groups who are stropping leather and sharing leathers and things like that, comparing knives.
Ooh.
And it all seems kind of informal. That it's hard to pass again if there's a leader or anybody running anything like this. You come across a cluster of quite taut, muscular-looking lizard folk who are stacking things and jumping over them, taking turns. And so at the bottom they've got a bale of hay that looks like it might have been plucked from somebody's barn, and on top of that they've got a saddle, and then balanced on top of the saddle there's a helmet that definitely wouldn't fit any of them. Because of the shape of it, and then balanced on top of the helmet, they've actually very precariously balanced, a hunting spear, and they're taking it in turns to jump over things and add something extra each time.
Oh, that looks like a laugh.
Why not have a go, Jeffro?
Is there is there a group like that you'd like to approach, Gav? Or
Yeah, that sounds all right.
yeah, the guys who are jumping, yeah.
Sure,
Oh.
as long as they're adult and male. Yeah.
Gender's going to be a hard one to determine, but they're certainly adults. They're certainly strong and virile looking, and competitive in that way.
Yeah, that'll do.
Gender with reptiles can be very difficult to fucking tell.
Yeah.
A lot
They
of
don't-
time it's counting scales on their head
They don't have titties.
Yeah.
or sticking a probe down their fucking cloaca.
Yeah.
I'm gonna ask them in
Let's not
comment.
do that.
Yeah.
I'm gonna ask them in comment. What is this game you play? What is this?
We are jumping. And one of them turns its head to you and says, "We are jumping."
I'm quite good at jumping. Can I play?
Demonstrate your jumping to us.
Uh,
And it points, the one that's standing there points to the pile of jumping. We will lower the jumping pile.
that
You
that won't be necessary.
It will be part of the game. We will lower the jumping pile, and they reset it to the
Very
hay
well.
bale.
Okay.
And all of them, again, the other 4 of them, take a turn jumping the hay bale, and everybody does it deftly. Or any 4 of you could jump this hay bale very deftly.
Mm-hmm. I rolled a 22 on acrobatics.
On an acrobatics check, brilliant. Okay, in which case, does anybody else want to join in the jumping game?
No.
I went
Yes.
to walk up to the hay bale, turn around, and just do a standing backflip over it without looking.
Acrobatics or athletics, then?
I fall over. I rolled a 6.
Yeah,
It was
okay.
about to be higher than it rolled.
You can make it over the hay bale, and that's fine. And then the next thing that goes on again is the leather saddle.
Can we see anyone taking bets on this?
Nobody is.
Oh, here we go again.
Is there any gambling happening?
No, people are stopping to watch. People in town clothes,
Oof.
townspeople are stopping to watch. There are some free drow in the dirt there, kind of hollering, "Yeah, trip him!" And they really laugh very loudly when Titus leaps and catches his heel on the stirrup coming down off the edge of the saddle, and stumbles.
I rolled a 10 on the second time.
That's fine. I was only going to take the one anyway,
Okay,
just
good,
because
good.
it's nice and easy to do, and you keep going,
I
and
like
they go
jumping.
from the leather. They go from the leather saddle, and when they lift the leather saddle, they lift the saddle and take a small barrel, the sort of thing that you might keep, dried food in, and put that under the saddle, but over the thing. And actually, one of the lizard folk struggles with this one as well, but you're able to deftly leap it. And then they take the helmet again and they put it on top of the saddle. And that one's tougher, but you're able to make it.
Mm.
And
What does the helmet look like?
it
like a
is
human soldier helmet or anything?
Yeah, I would describe it almost. Do you know what I mean by like a conquistador's helmet?
Yeah.
No, it is shaped in metal. This isn't the helmet that you will have seen, Sam, for example, on the King's soldiers earlier on. I didn't describe their uniform,
That's
but
fine.
they had colouring that was a kind of purple and mustardy yellow
Ugh, what a
on the.
clash.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but that seems to be kind of royal colouring. And Gav, you being a local and interested in these things, you know that is royal colouring. Is a kind of rich purple and a kind of mustardy yellow.
Okay.
Um,
So while these, I-
Yeah.
I'm going to lean over and, sorry, who here speaks Dwarvish?
I do, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, no, I don't want to talk to him. He's too stupid. Um,
Nope.
Elvish? I know we
I
had this
speak
discussion.
halfling and Shunies.
You
Sylvan.
spoke Elvish, oh, Sylvan. Okay. In that case, in common, I'm just going to say it quietly to whoever I'm standing beside, preferably Tor or whatever.
you can
Will
cast
we?
message as well, Gav. Remember, you can telepathically
can-
do things if you want to be quiet. Don't
Oh
forget.
yeah, I did forget. Um, Okay, well I'll just cast that or use that ability, and
I think
uh,
you've got both, and the only reason I would say to have both is message allows a reply, whereas telepathy doesn't. So if you want a reply, you can phrase it in that way. But
now see, I am telepathic.
you're telepathic, and you have message as a cantrip, I believe.
No, I don't.
Okay, sure. Okay,
I've
I might
only
have.
got
Yeah.
a few cantrips.
Yeah.
Message isn't one of them. So
Okay.
with
Yeah.
telepathy,
Yeah.
I'm going to say to everyone in the group then, will we just take a risk and ask these few that have they seen a woman?
Hmm.
Yeah. Why not?
Take a chance, but if they clam up, then don't fucking push the don't rock the boat if that's not necessary. You know what I mean?
How are you replying there, Vic?
In voice, because I can't message him back.
Oh, baby.
So I'll walk over and fucking just talk to him in common, I guess. Ooh,
Yeah, that's reasonable. I just hope you don't mind me checking. Yeah.
no, that's
Okay.
fine.
In that case, I'm gonna ask one of them. In Draconic, have you seen our friend? She came to the camp with 6 of your men, or 6 lizard folk, a day or two ago. And I'm going to, in fact, sorry, before asking him, I'd like to cast Detect Thoughts. It lasts for a
Yeah.
minute.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to ask him in Draconic.
Okay. So the first layer that you get on the detect thoughts is mostly it's about the game that they're playing, and it is in this vein of like, yes, he's good at jumping. Yes, he's good at jumping. I'm better at jumping than all of these. I will jump higher than them. But that was a quality jump, and he's impressed by Gex's jumping as well. Gex has a deftness to him that so he's trying to work out bits of the technique and watch Jethro jump to do that. But when you go up and ask the question, the first thing is identifying that this is a question, because that's actually a little bit of an alien concept. Most of what you've seen issue with these, and within Draconic, it takes a little bit of work because most things are commands and demands for information rather than
Oh, well,
questions.
in that case, that's what I'll phrase it as,
Yeah.
being learned in the
Yeah.
language.
Yeah.
I'll just say, where is my friend? She arrived here. You know, the same thing.
Tell me whether you have seen my friend.
Yes.
Yeah, and that's not impolite. Something like that.
They're direct people. I like that.
Yeah. Tell me whether you have seen my friend. She arrived in the village. Yeah, if you phrase it like that. In which case, yeah, he turns to you, and again, there's this flash of, is this threatening? Then is this, is it appropriate for me to be threatening here? No, he's a guest. I need to be restrained. This is, he will clock the white flower on your chest, and again, this pops up in your detect thoughts. This thing of like, yep, that's not threatening. That's fine. Okay, I'm not to threaten him. I have possibly seen your friend. you need to tell me more. Tell me what she looks like.
I'll describe her.
Yeah, sure. And things cross her head, and he tries to put together humans that he knows and that he has seen and remember things.
Probably
and things come
all
back,
bloody
and
same to him.
he says, "I have not seen that human." And you've no doubt in your mind, because there's no doubt in his, that he has not seen that human.
Thank you for your time. Enjoy your game.
We are jumping to demonstrate our skill in jumping.
A noble profession. A worthy cause. Back away slowly.
And he'll
But,
turn to you, Gex. Say, you. Explain to me your deafness. Demonstrate to me so that I might learn.
I'll lift my right leg up and pull it up in the air, up to like my chest, like to demonstrate my flexibility, and
Yeah.
then I'll also I'll say it's all in the squats. It's all about squats, and
I'm not going to do that.
plenty of vegetables.
Let's see how many of the other ones around you can.
I'm not going to do that classic Shaolin thing then of doing the splits and just landing on your ball sack.
No, don't need to be that show-offy.
The ones around you are... Only the one talking to you is able to raise his leg that high, and the others watch and attempt to copy, but they don't have that same...
You should
They either
stretch
don't
every
understand the
morning.
movement or that degree of flexibility, yeah.
I'll show him a little a couple of stretches, like on the ground, and show him a calf stretch and stuff. Like this is I do this every morning to keep my flexibility up. Very important.
And downward dog.
Yeah.
Grab one foot, jump over it with the the foot hop thing.
Yeah, I'll do a few of those. Yeah. And yeah, I'll do another standing backflip just to just
Yeah.
impress.
And the one that you've been talking to, that probably is the only one of this little group that actually speaks common to any real degree, looks dead at you and expresses, "We feel impressed by your deafness."
You're also pretty deft yourselves. It's quite a good game you've got going here.
It will continue.
I hope it does.
Get a drink, I'm listening.
Very entertaining. Well met.
I'm going to say to Tor in telepathy, Tor, can you lead me around this camp? I'm going to take the eyes of my feline here and have a scout.
Yep.
So I'll kind of link arms with Tor and
Yep.
I'll lose my ears and my eyes with my sight and sound, and I'll go into the body of my cat, which was Mortimer, I believe.
Mortimer was the name of the familiar. Are you sticking with cat? I know you mentioned a raven to me last session.
I did. Did I change it to a raven?
I
Or
don't.
did I just
think
mention it?
You said to me, "Jed, can I change it to a raven?" And I said, "Yeah, if you want." And you didn't tell me that you
Yeah,
did.
I did. I don't think I cast the ritual, so
Yeah.
we'll stick with the cat. And I'm just gonna go within 100 feet of myself, and I'll just have a snoop around. I'll keep the cat moving pretty quick.
I'll nudge Titus in the ribs and say, "Are those two courting now?" Because you're walking off arm in arm.
Yeah. There are places where it would probably be appropriate to sit. If nothing else, it's kind of, there are places that you've had some stew and some soup, but there are places with drink, broth.
Well, I think what I'll do with Gab is just wander around from bit to bit, and then when he wants to move on, are you able to still speak while you're looking through the eyes?
Yeah, but I can't hear you.
Yeah, I don't need to hear you, but when you're ready to move, you can tell me.
The other way around.
Yeah.
Yeah, that works. Just give me a nudge in the ribs or whatever, and I'll snap back.
I
So, yeah,
suppose
we
me and Gex will just wander and make friends.
Yeah.
Look, we're the nice tourist.
Being very visible and outgoing.
What was I trying to say? Gav, is there any particular detail that you are looking for in your own patrolling?
Well, I'm not too sure how cats are with smell. I don't think that's their main way of hunting. So I'm gonna be looking for possibly
keen smell. Yeah, you get cats get
Yeah.
advantage on wisdom.
Yeah,
So
it's
I'll-
definitely smell.
Okay,
Sorry.
so I'll be trying either to smell Caitlin. I'll try remember back to her townhouse if
Yep.
there was a scent of perfume from her room, anything like that. I'll also be
Sweaty
looking
minge.
out. I'll also be looking out for the type of boots a noble lady might have worn.
Yep.
They have like
Um,
a passive perception of 13 for senses, cats.
Passive
Cool.
perception is good to know. But no, we'll use Gav's passive perception.
which is also 13.
Okay, cool. Yeah, but you are. I will encourage you then to make a perception check at advantage.
And there's a natural 20.
Great. Cool.
That'll work.
There she is.
So
Not
There are-
direction.
there are certainly human smells, urbane smells, smells that you might associate with young genteel women, kind of the kind of women that have townhouses and tutors. There are bouquets and scents and things like that people might wear amongst things. And you can hear the laughter of young women, but then when you turn a corner to chase it, your eyes reach up, and rather than blonde hair, there is auburn. Rather than blue eyes, there is green. Rather than the kinds of boots that she would have worn or been taken away in, there are dresses that, to your knowledge, she never owned, styles that she would not wear. Certainly moving around in the crowd between lizard folk, between people that are in attendance, there is no sign of Caitlin Goss, whom you seek. And with the 20, you're able to move, and with the time that you spend, with the time that Tor is guiding you around, with the radius that you're able to cover, you can be pretty exhaustive. I mean, there aren't loads of humans here. The crowd is still majority lizard folk. But
Well,
you can be pretty confident. Yeah,
I was kind of assuming she was going to be kept in a tent against her will, opposed to be out and about.
I'm thinking that she may have been kept in a tent, but not near the camp so much.
Yeah, going between the camp, going even quite close to the mammoth tent in the center, and even all the way to it, you don't get a distinct or anything distinct, anything unique that confirms that she's there.
Okay.
Confidently enough. With the natural 20, with the extra bonus that you've got on there, you basically you can't find her. And you're looking, and you are scurrying, and you are looking in tents. You are looking in tents where, as a cat, you are scowled at, or
looked at like food,
battered at, or perhaps considered as food. The mammoth tent is, at this time of day, unoccupied, save for a single one that is sweeping wooden benches. And there are 4 rows of wooden benches on 4 sides, stacked up high, with a large fire that is built but not lit in the middle.
Well, this could imply that there's 4 factions. But if there's no obvious sign of her, I will let my comrades know. Is there much horse activity here?
There are horses, but there are horses. Some are being ridden, some are being led. Many are tied up. And actually, you can find evidence of horses being traded. Some are tied together and being led in groups. And yeah, you're able to witness what look like horse deals, basically.
Oh,
Have you
talk
left
to
your
the horse store?
can I
have
look
you
for? Can we look?
left your horses tied up at Sasakath's tent, or have you taken them with you?
I think they will. We didn't say. And
Yeah,
we
you
did.
didn't say you were riding back to town and then have kind of
Yeah,
changed
and then
your
we kind of
plans.
I think.
So we'll tie them up in town somewhere, or sorry,
Yeah.
in this camp somewhere.
Yeah.
Can we look? There was a freshly shod horse. One of them got a
Yes.
horseshoe, so there'll be a horse
Yeah.
with a fresh horseshoe.
That is an excellent idea.
I
That's
can
not.
try to
That's
talk to the horses, but they're pretty ignorant bastards most of the time.
Well, if you try, while we maybe haggle, trying to buy them, inspect their shoes, then disagree on the price and walk away.
We got any fruit or any apples or oats or anything that fucking bribe them half.
fucking bribe the
Give them
horses.
some dry brisket, biscuit.
I don't think they'd be very up for any meat.
Attack.
I have nondescript food that I stole from the kitchen of thingies. So maybe there's a carrot in that, Jed?
Probably eaten that by now. It's ages old, isn't it?
Yeah.
No, because we took the duck soup with us.
Maybe
From
we could
Movis's.
trade
okay.
some of these
Took some food from
lovely
Movis,
lizard men for some
yeah.
fucking.
Well, no, we'd have hardtack. We've travelling rations. That's just compressed oats and butter. They'd eat
Yeah.
that.
Oh, they'd like that, yeah. Not necessarily sure about the butter, but yeah, give them a go.
Fucking horses.
Hey, what we feed the horses irrelevant. We're looking at the
Yeah.
feet.
Yeah. So, Jed, I'm gonna go up and just kind of casually tire kick. Like walk around the outside of the group of horses. Collective noun escapes me.
Yeah.
And
Pack.
and we'll start haggling and taking a look and disagreeing. And what about this one? It looks a bit better. I'm just basically I want to check out whatever the shoes and look.
Yeah. There isn't one particular kind of concentrated area, like a specific corral or anything like that. Horses are tied up outside particular tents or being led from place to place. There are more concentrations, but they might all belong to one particular family.
Is there an area for the horses to graze in around here?
Are you asking?
Yeah, because they're hungry. All the horses are hungry. So,
They'll be fed hay or whatever, wouldn't they?
So the person you're asking, the lizard person that you're asking, kind of looks over to you and says, "Yes."
Whereabouts? Where that to then? Our horses are hungry. Need to be able to graze them a little bit.
You speak Draconic, do you? Who's the other Draconic speaker? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I speak
Are you speaking to them in Draconic or?
Yeah, why not?
Yeah.
Why not?
And so the one will look at you and say, "You're standing on grass, like."
Aye, but they also shit everywhere as well. So unless they want to be fucking pooing all over the floor,
We burn
where
the
everyone's
shit.
gonna be walking. All right then. Well, I'll
Good. It's useful. It's good for the grass. Get horse shit.
Can be. But you don't want to be walking shit into your tent, do ya?
Well, you might not.
I don't need a tent. I got my house on my back.
Why are you asking me about a tent then?
Well, there's fucking tents everywhere.
Yeah.
I ain't got a fucking clue what he's saying, but he's working himself up into a right fucking fluster.
All right
I
then.
don't
So I'm
think
gonna.
he speaks the language, but I don't think he gets the nuances of it.
You can. I'm trying to think what you can roll for me here, Vic. You can pitch a roll at me if you want to kind of get a particular result. Either if you're trying to persuade or gain insight into kind of what's being said to you, or.
No, I was just trying to find if there was an area where the horses will fit.
Yeah.
And I was also looking for the horses' stats on what's it called on the D&D, because I wanted to see if they had any like bonuses to hearing or anything like that.
Yeah. Horses, I don't think have any special senses, do they?
No, but in real life they fucking do have
Yeah.
amazing hearing and sense of smell.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, well,
Yeah.
I'm gonna search the horseshoes.
There are lots of horses and they're kind of disparate around there, so it's going to take you quite a bit of time if you're going around and checking horseshoes of different things. I'm inclined not to carry over your perception check from before, Gav. Are you going to carry on doing that as Cat, or
No, I'm back as myself now.
back
I'll
as
do it
yourself?
as
Yeah.
myself because
Yeah.
I've got animal handling. I'm not too
Yeah.
bad with animals, so
Yeah.
I will, and I'll spend like 2 hours doing this. Like we have
Yeah.
the whole day.
Yeah.
And we really need this information, so I'll give it my best.
Yeah.
Animal handling is +3, same as my perception. I roll a 16. So
16
19 in
total.
total.
Yeah.
Sorry, 19 total.
Yeah. Is there, if anybody else is helping Gav, I can give you advantage on the roll as well if you'd like, Gav, or if you're doing this as a group. See if you're rolling better.
No, I seem to be doing it by myself.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. For a 19 total. Short answer is lots
Sorry, I
of the
was
horses
muted.
have new hooves.
I was muted. I
Okay.
helped. I got 11. Not good.
Okay. Yeah. Fine.
Okay.
Yeah. Lots of the horses have new hooves. Again, some of the horseshoes that don't have new ones, the horseshoes themselves look like they might be a year or more older. And it could well be that this is that this coming into Shy Meat is the only time of the year that the lizard folk are able or anything to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Understood. Bag of nails is the last thing to go on.
Yeah.
There's no there's no obvious sight or sound of a smith in town, is there? In the camp.
In the lizard folk camp, no. No, to the point that you might assume that they don't really have a smith. They don't really
Do
have
they not
smithing.
work
There's lots of
metal?
leather work
Yeah.
doing. There's lots of woodwork going on. Lots of working with natural materials. There are fires and lots of different cooking and things like that. But you can't see any sign of them having a smithy or a forge. You can't really hear hammering of metal on metal amongst things. There are looms. There are what's that? Lathes, like lathes that involved twisting of wood and turning of wood,
Yeah.
that sort of thing. Lots of really fine stuff being done with like wood fiber and fabrics. And you can see large leaves, larger leaves than anything that grows for miles and miles and miles of moorland, being torn apart into fiber and woven into hats, for example. There are drow who are trying to barter with hot spirits for fine husk hats that will block the sun off them. So that there's lots of craft, but yeah, not an awful lot of sign of smithing.
Oh, fuck's sake, dog. Yes, you're not having meat tonight. No, go and
Yeah.
fucking lie down, dog.
Okay.
So that Vic needs to roll animal handling.
She just keeps putting her, telling her to go lie down. She keeps putting her paw on my arm, just like, where's my food? Where's my meat?
Well, I'll say to the guys,
Uh,
I'm pretty much out of ideas.
Well, if we could get
Yep.
hold of her, is there any hawkers or anything around here?
A what?
We
Yeah,
seen
we
any
passed a
hawk-
few back there.
Well, if you've relayed this information to us that you gathered from Cat Vision.
Yes. Oh, and the horse search and everything.
Yeah. Well, then maybe she's not here.
Ugh.
They're keeping her somewhere else.
Yes, that's possible.
Is there any, Jed, describe
Ooh.
outside of the camp topography?
So you are in moorland.
Yep.
There are, as I say, it is undulating. There's not an awful lot of trees, but there are patches that are wetter than others. There are pools. There are outcrops of rocks on top of kind of small bits of hill. Nothing so tall as the hill where you slept the night before. That's the off to the south and really the highest point around. But that there's still bits that are tens of meters above the ground where you're on. The spot that you're on is quite generally speaking, compared to like average moorland where the camp is quite dry, but the ground is still churning, and there are big patches of heather. There are large pools
So-
or anything like that.
Right, I have a plan, boys.
You can't
Ooh.
see, and where you've been, you haven't had an awfully good look off to the towards the west, because your view to the west has always been blocked by more tents the whole time that you've been here.
Can we? Where's the? You said there was bits that are like meters higher, 10 meters higher, or whatever.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, and even if you leave the camp, you could probably. You were asking earlier on about getting an observation point and things like that, and you could do that. You could gain a bit of ground, and that would probably be enough to see across the whole thing. And you'd have to be, I don't know, let's say 100 foot outside of the camp to get to a position like that.
Need
But
to find
Can-
somewhere quiet to
can we?
go out the way at the minute.
yeah, you can
a
you
bit
can
of a
take a
plan.
few minutes to leave the camp and walk in a in a directish line towards a bit of higher ground.
Yeah.
Sorry, Tor,
Yeah.
what were you
Right.
saying?
So, there is one trick up my sleeve I haven't done yet,
Oh.
and we may I don't want to do it in front of all these lizard men, but
Okay, so
Performance
if we get out the
anxiety.
way, if we get out the way a little bit, I might be able to get something to come and give us a hand.
Oh. What?
all right. Well, after you then, Titus. We'll find that high ground and
Yep.
have a bite to eat, maybe.
Yep.
Interesting.
Do that, Jed.
Yeah, so you're able to walk, for a few minutes, and you get to the edge of the encampment, and the ground on the encampment is pretty well cleared. Things are steady, and as soon as you start to leave that, you start getting into deeper heather, and there are wet bits of the ground. But you're able to make your way and slowly gain a bit of height until you find yourselves on a granite outcrop.
If the ground is this damp, we may be able to pick up 6 horse tracks.
Are we out of view?
Yeah.
It's possible, but without knowing where to start, that's proper needle in a haystack kind of stuff.
So, Jed,
Yes.
do you want me to roll a perception to see if I can spot any sort of other camps or any locations that would be in dead ground from the main camp that might be somewhere to hide?
Yeah, absolutely. If you'd like, I will describe to you basically. So, gaining a bit of ground, you're able to see clearly the road coming in and out of Shimey. It is this northwesterly
Looks like I'm
road
rolling terrible today. 10.
that skirts the camp. So the camp still sits kind of between the two westerly roads, but where you come up on your high point now, you can see the southwesterly road. Neither of which are the one that you came in on, but that one would probably ease back towards the northern points of Tolvaden Forest. This northwesterly road, those of you who have been here would have, who know the land, will eventually take you to Haller. Whereas this southwesterly one is probably just towards, farming encampments. Yeah, that's the, homesteads and, rural areas, and may well skirt back to another road that goes through the forest that you were in a few days before. You're able to make that sort of thing out. Beyond that, and you've got a much better view to the west, you can actually make out a stone farm, again, a little way on, to the point that it would probably be a couple of hours' ride from Shimey itself, from someone who just wants a bit of privacy, but they still want to work on the edge of the town. And there are animals corralled there that you can see. You can see your way back towards the town. It's a little further off from you, but the smoke and the busyness of the town is well set up. There are people riding on that southwesterly road. A couple of people, but they're a little far off for you to make out any more detail about them. They're riding side by side on a buggy being led by a horse. Like a trap, I suppose is the phrase I want to use there. And
Does anybody else see anything?
the rest of you can make perception checks if you'd like. We're going to go with a similar question to the one that Sam had.
Nope.
Nope.
So
Line of
myself in
sight.
people's passive
I'd have
perceptions.
something I do want to do if we're out of view of the lizard men.
Yes,
You can
yes, yes.
certainly get yourself in a position where you can break view from the town. Yeah, you can break line of sight. Trying to remind myself of
I think mine's 15, Jed.
of your passives. Yeah,
Yeah.
Gex, what's your
15.
passive perception?
14.
14 and Vic.
Passive perception. Which one? Investigation or fucking? Oh no, that's
Perception.
intel. Sorry.
Passive
Perception
perception.
14. Sorry. Yeah.
14. Yeah, okay, great. Yeah, I'm not going to give you guys more details than what I've given you now. Yeah.
All right. I would like to use my wild companion action and summon a pixie.
A pixie.
Summon a pixie. Okay.
Yep. And then I'm gonna have said pixie turn invisible and search around the camp for signs of this person.
Bear with me. I'm reading Wild Companion for myself really quickly. Okay,
We've
so
already searched the camp.
Yeah, but she can actually search the tents
Yes, we've already done that.
and stuff, and also yeah, it's 2 hours. It flies, and it has. Ooh.
I'm fairly confident she's not in there.
Yeah, we've already done that.
so
Detect good evil, detect force, detect dispel magic, entangle. What's this for magic?
so Wild Companion effectively works as
Summoning a familiar.
it's a find familiar, and then that is the creature type for it is Fey rather than Beast.
Oh, weird.
But that's not the same as a kind of conjure woodland spirits or anything like that. So it still has.
So it's still an animal, but it's of Fey origin.
Yes, this is exactly it.
Yeah, like
So
mine's from the wave.
you still have to stipulate an animal form. It's just a different.
Oh. Okay.
Does mean you have a familiar though, which is handy.
Yeah.
It probably has the same rules.
Only
as-
lasts for 2 hours.
Yeah. The other
Uh,
thing that I'm gonna.
Oh, Valinar Hawk. What's that then? Fey creature. Because it doesn't come up with Fey beasts as much on the
Yeah.
Fey actually.
Yeah. Well, there aren't Fey beasts, so you are looking for beasts, and I can give you very specific, a kind of. If we're going rules as written, I can give you a definitive list. Hawk comes to mind, for what you've asked me about.
Orc
Yeah,
sounds like a pretty
I-
fucking useful animal to
Yeah.
for recon.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I might go with the Hawk.
Yeah.
Just give me a second to have a little look through Hawk and
Yeah.
Owl differences. A second. But yeah, I will be summoning. I didn't realize it summons a creature, but as a Fey.
So it's basically creature type is significant for a lot of different abilities, but in terms of actually the form of what you summon, it's from that specific list from the Find Familiar list. But your Wild Companion. What does it look like as you kind of cast this, Vic? What do you
Where
can you
is
describe this from a
Find-
narrative perspective?
I will. Where is the Find Familiar list?
So if you search for the spell Find Familiar.
It's on Google.
If not, I can just describe the spell to you, or I can give you the list.
Brain function, please. There. 1 minute. It's gonna be like a greeny mist of incorporealness.
Yeah.
That just merges in, and just becomes the creature of summoning, I guess.
Yeah. You wave your hands in a way that the mist starts to coagulate in the air and then
I
takes on the
chant in
form.
my druidic tongue.
Would you like me to read you the
la,
list? I
la.
mean, Hawk kind of comes to mind here, but
Yeah, that would be helpful because I can't find the freaking thing.
yeah. So the full list there is bat, cat, crab, frog or toad, hawk, lizard, octopus, owl, poisonous snake, fish, rat, raven, seahorse, spider, or weasel.
I will go with owl. I think.
An owl,
Over.
yeah.
Let me have a look at the
Owl over a
hawk.
hawk.
I'm very tempted by owl. I just want to
Yep.
look at what the hawk gets as its fucking thingies. Yeah, owl. Owl over
Owl.
hawk.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Great.
because owl gets a bonus to hearing as well as
Yeah.
sight.
Absolutely great. And you're able to to pull that together, kind of out of the mists, out of thin air, and everybody else watches this go on. You'll get that kind of dropping your senses out up to the range of 100 feet, but not beyond
Mhm.
that. Same as that. So that'll get you probably about to the edge of the camp from where you are here, but not much more than that. But you want to send your hawk sweeping over the camp, looking for any signs of Caitlin, anywhere that she
Send
might
it.
be.
I'm gonna send it as high as I can.
Yeah.
And then to see if there is any alternative camps around the any tents that are not close to the camp but look like they're well traveled to,
Great. Yeah, good question.
as well as maybe being under guard.
Yeah.
At all. At first.
Yeah.
Uh,
Cool. Okay. So the owl sits on your forearm for a little bit, and you whisper what you'd
In
like it to do.
Sylvan, because they can understand Sylvan. So no one
And-
else knows what I'm telling.
And then you cast it up into the air, and it flies upwards. And you can make that perception check with advantage. And so it has so this is the thing checking it. So it has, I'm just checking here, perception +3. So it has a +3 on whatever you roll.
17.
17. Yeah, cool. Okay. So looking around there, so in terms of, you can see quite easily as far over as Shymi, and Shymi is as described, and the bustle of traffic coming north, coming south, coming west. There is not so much coming from the east towards Shymi at the moment today, but that's not to say that there never is. And there are, out in the plains, out in the moor, there are farms, there are homesteads, there are small little clusters of houses. But what you were looking for was any tents that looked like they might be of lizard folk origin mostly,
Yeah,
outside of the Mycandavu, the Great Gathering. And your owl swoops around.
or any paths that are well traveled from the gathering to any
Yeah.
other locations other than the town.
Yeah. Absolutely. Now bear with me. Okay, cool. And your owl swoops around and dips and lifts and comes up and crosses again. But nothing like that really comes to mind. There are small little kind of soft spots in the grass. There are spots in the grass where perhaps there was room for two of these lizard folk to curl up together, shall we say? To
Getting
have
on.
spent the night finding a bit of privacy, everything like that. But nothing remains there now except for mottled and tangled grass. There isn't the sign, what you may be looking for, of things being dragged, of large numbers of horses going through. There isn't the sign even of that, because your owl's eyesight is good, and what Gav told you before, of you can't spot things like that, even perhaps on the road or across the camp. Notably, you don't know what you might be looking for, how it might be transported. You'll recall Farrax didn't say he remembered seeing anyone with the lizard folk that came to him. And likewise, Steve and Ganther in town didn't say they knew anybody was there. But you're not seeing any sign of looking over the tents, looking over what might be nearby as well. No, nothing comes to mind. Nothing really catches your eye in that vein. What you do see are lizard folk, especially further west. You know, your owl has got a bit of a perspective on things from overhead, and it's able to pick up on a degree of formation in the tents that none of you were able to see from the ground. It's able to pick up on shapes and divisions in the pathways of things, and the way that the lizard folk themselves are moving through the camp that townsfolk ignore. Townsfolk don't seem to be aware of. Humans are crossing paths and making routes that the lizard folk themselves are not making. And the way that the lizard folk are mingling, and the way that they are moving from spot to spot, you can quite clearly make out 4 divisions within the lizard folk camp. And with that view from the air, with that view of how the tents are laid out, of the roads that there seem to be to follow, and the styling of the tents, and the way that the position, for example, that a horse might be placed, that things might be set up around these little temporary dwellings, and the way that the folk are moving, that's certainly something that you can identify there.
Hey, but, looks to be a bit of a division going on there. Well. There doesn't seem to be any. Did you say though there was another like what farmstead not far from here as well?
There's one farm that's probably maybe another hour's ride further out, and then there are others further still, dotted around the landscape. This is despite looking fairly barren to your eye, this looks like developed land. This is working land. This is far from wild. You can also see tracks of animals that, with your owl's view and your knowledge of these things, when it comes back and explains it, tracks of animals that are not farmed, tracks of animals that are wild, and tracks of animals that are perhaps not meant to be roaming this landscape. You may have encountered a couple of those the night before.
Well, if she's hiding anywhere around here, they've got her fucking well hid.
Yes.
Where
would they? If they
yeah.
didn't bring her here, where'd they have left her?
Don't know.
Don't know.
Maybe they've stuck her in a pocket dimension.
Stuck her in a hole in the ground for all we know.
Maybe. Actually, could we see any movement around that farm in the distance? Because it may be worth us getting on her horses and making a journey over there. If it's only an hour.
Yeah. You're getting further into the afternoon. Gav has spent a couple of hours checking horses' hooves, kind of wandering around and checking things, everything like that. And so you're going to be, if you head over there and that takes you an hour and it takes you another hour to get back, that's going to be getting closer to your dusk rendezvous. With the time that you've spent playing jumping, with the time that you've spent walking over to your little cairn, things like that. So that's fine. In terms of what you can see, and again, I'll keep your perception roll was pretty good. The fire is lit over there. There was a person cutting wood. The owl can see this and make it out, and it will tell you when it comes down.
Well, boys, I think we're pretty fucked here.
Yeah.
Well, I guess we're doing it with the voices of talk.
Yep. Maybe be ready with that fucking boomstick. They may not
You-
like that summer magic.
I'm always
Okay.
ready with it.
You guys are all very close to asking the right questions, and
Hmm.
yeah,
Maybe she turned into a lizard.
I know I'm making you work hard for the info here. Yeah.
Maybe. Fuck. I don't know.
If we could determine which one of the 4.
Are we all as a
Yes.
group at the minute, or are we still
Yeah.
split up?
Yeah, we're all.
Yeah, whereas
We went away from the camp, didn't we?
So, you got any of that magic where you can, what is it? Find missing objects, find things you've lost, and that?
No.
Obadiah?
No, forget that. But believe me, it's the first thing I'm going to learn when we get back to civilization.
I can.
So that would have been handy. To like, find the fucking necklace or something that was she's got. Or
I
some,
could punch stuff. But that's yeah.
you're good at shooting things.
Yeah. Why? I don't know.
Oh, we're pretty fucked up in a minute. I said the only thing I could think of is they've got it kept somewhere, but not somewhere close, but not fucking.
What if she's in the
Yeah.
town?
Could be.
See?
I don't think the hotel would rent rooms to them, but maybe.
They might.
And do you have to have like a rest or long rest to be able to change spells?
Long
You
You
rest.
can only change what spells you've got prepared at a long rest.
We already
Jed,
did.
I'm gonna
We
use
just
my-
did one, so.
I'm going to use my arcane recovery to get back that second level spell that I cast, the
Go for
detect
it.
thoughts.
Yeah, you've spent enough time that I will cast. Are you casting detect thoughts, or are you using that as your telepathy ability? Because you can use it without a spell slot because you're telepathic.
Sorry, I thought my telepathic ability allowed me to use detect thoughts.
Yes, it does, and therefore it doesn't use a spell slot for you to do that.
In that case, sorry, yes, I understand now. I
Yeah.
don't have the spell detect thoughts.
No.
So I
Good.
just have the ability, so that's what I use, so therefore I
Yeah.
can't use arcane recovery to get it back.
That's right.
Okay. Shit, I'm out of ideas, guys. I don't know.
Yeah.
If
I
I'd known,
honestly thought we would have found something from
I've
the
got
hill.
locate object possible if we'd known we were going to need that.
You guys have got a bunch of really good info, and a sense of what's going on here. I promise you, I'm not railroading you, and you've said things in talking to each other that's come really close, and I want to go, yeah, it's that, but I'm not going to say more.
Yeah, understood.
Between you, you've got some of the pieces. You haven't got all the pieces for what's going on here. But I hope that I've seeded out enough information that when you do find out what's happening, you'll go, oh.
Oh.
Yeah.
And if
that's
not,
fine.
then you can vote me out and fuck you, Swanee.
Vote you out.
Yeah.
You are the weakest link. Goodbye.
Yeah.
Would have
You've got, as I said to you, you've got let's call it a couple of hours until dusk. You could go back into town and arrange, for example, some food. If you wanted to go and talk to the locksmith, we can do that.
Honestly, in character, it's not a priority.
I
No.
understand that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not.
Do we just stay at the camp until the evening and then?
I think we prepare
Try
a
to
booby trap
intervene.
or surprise just in case. Got any of that black powder spare? Maybe bury it next to one of the tents and be ready to blow the bastard up.
Okay,
Do I
right. So
think-
we're going with we haven't found her.
Yeah.
So we're going to have to do that, and then we need to plan a what if it goes wrong.
But we're assuming it's going to go wrong.
Yeah.
Should we
So
Should we have a group ready for a snatch and grab?
Well, I've got me pass without trace ready, just in case.
That helps us with stealth.
Well, I could not come to the meet, and be prepared to make a distraction. Someone would need to get me a message.
You can, between you, be pretty confident that the lizard folk are going to be speaking Draconic at the meet. So,
It's probably going to be best if me and Obadiah is there.
You might need some. You might need some
Considering-
backup, but what if?
Considering I was the one who convinced him to let us go anyway.
Well, if push comes to shove, Tor can transform and run. And I can use some magics to move myself short distances.
I could run pretty fast.
Push comes to shove, I'll summon a beastie and then fucking transform and fucking flee like the wind.
so it uses one of your wild shapes, doesn't it, to
Yeah.
summon that?
Yeah.
What about saving her, though? That's the objective.
We'd fucking find her first.
What can I transform into? I think I can transform into a horse.
Can you?
Yeah, I'm confident.
I'm pretty sure I can,
You
yeah.
can race your actual horse and see which is faster.
Let me see. Wild shape, maximum of half rating. Half maximum thingy. So a half. Which I think is like a war horse, potentially.
Yeah, I think so, from my own recollection.
Why don't we? We could just ask some more questions.
Turn into a crocodile and let her ride my back.
I don't know what questions to ask, Gex. That's the problem. Otherwise, I kind of would have.
Ask people what the ritual is going to entail. What
Well-
the sacrifice is for. When's it
Well, as
happening?
you've seen, there was a big fucking bonfire in the middle of the camp that's not been lit. If they're
Well,
going to
yeah.
be sacrificing someone, it's probably on that.
No,
Well,
the
They magically
fire was in
hidden
the
them.
center of the mammoth tent.
It wasn't lit. No, there was a big bonfire not lit, wasn't there? They had made a big pile ready to go. So I
Is
imagine
she
if things
magically
go
hidden?
south, she might go fucking
I see.
She
fiery.
could be. We don't know
Obadiah.
if they're.
More than
I
likely,
don't know.
she is more than likely hidden with magic, because otherwise, I'm pretty sure Obadiah would have smelt her with the cat, while I'd have been able to find her with the owl. There's nothing around for a fair while, so
Oh, she's
could
dead.
either be close or she wouldn't be dead yet. Otherwise, he wouldn't have told us to come back. He'd have made his excuses and sent us back in. Only other option is to maybe hide near Safakas, wherever he's called, Lizard Man, and see what's, and maybe that was what we want to do for the next bit of time. Is if you go into your cat body and hide near his tent and listen in to what he's saying, maybe be able to find some information that we're missing.
We detect magic? Question mark?
I can. But
It's short
Yeah.
range.
short enough. It involves circling the camp a few more times.
How long's it last?
Well,
I'm just saying that. I'm just saying that for flavour. It's 10 minutes.
approximately 10 minutes. And it only detects objects within about 30 feet of me.
It's better than nothing.
Yeah, but say we pick up something magic in a tent. What do we do then?
Go in and fucking find out.
And then it's some dude's sword or some woman's locket or something?
Then we have a nice sword or a nice locket, and we keep looking.
And then
Or we have a
get
scrap
bumped
and a confrontation on our hands and shit kicks off.
in. Yes, and we're all dead.
Well, we don't have all the information we need, right? We need to get more.
Agreed.
Let's go back and just start fucking shouting. shouting her name.
Well, let's just plan for the worst. Let's go in to talk to her, and we'll plan for the worst. I will prepare a distraction outside. I won't come to the meet. Me and Jethro will stick as a pair,
All right.
and this lovely present he bought me will be sacrificed for the greater good. How does that
Okay.
sound? Which one should I blow up? I'll ask.
I don't know what you're meant to be. I
Uh,
don't know why.
I think it'd be best to be able to set as much on fire as possible. So
Well, if it was to go bad, I mean, overnight, if you were to get me a message, say, for your...
Well, if we don't know
Yeah.
what tent she's in,
it doesn't matter what tent she's in if we need to get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, but we
Well,
don't.
she'll
Oh, well,
be
we
there.
don't want to blow her up.
Would you not be there? Maybe she won't. Maybe we'll just be talking about it, and then we'll come back at the ritual and rescue her.
well, I
Fuck.
would
See?
imagine that the ritual's tonight. It is midsummer after all.
It will be tonight, but she may not be in the main tent with us.
Midsummer is the next day. You've got one night, and then Midsummer's Day, and then
Oh,
because you guys took the fast route through to
Okay.
to Shimei, so you know
That's
as much
a
as I
little bit
planned a bunch of
different.
things happening on Midsummer, I told you that you had 2 nights until Midsummer, and so you didn't take the road. You asked Farrix if there was a faster route, and you took it.
Okay, so if we
so
have a
I'm-
day, then how about we go in to discuss this thing tonight?
Yep.
And we see where that leaves us.
Yep.
And then
Okay.
if we need to, cause
do your
havoc,
magic, but look for magic and all. See if we can find her while we're in there. Wander around.
if we've got, we could find her tomorrow, probably without issue. If we can rest in that.
If she's brought here tonight, we have to track where she's taken to afterwards. I don't have a way of doing that without leaving the tent. And that's something that we may not be permitted to do.
So you are gonna
Well-
go meet Sasakat, and she'll be there.
If she's there.
If
Because
she's there.
All right. We wait
Well,
outside.
what if...
What-
What if we wait outside, and if she's there, you leave a message, and I tail. It is my speciality. Hoping that I don't roll a 5 again.
Sounds like a plan to me.
Let's fucking
Agreed.
do it on the night. Let's go. Fuck it. Jump on the horse.
All right, yeah.
Wow,
Enough
we've only
lollygagging.
got,
That's the plan, Jed.
Plan
Yeah,
is
sure.
see what happens and react to it.
See what happens. React to it.
Yeah.
Time skip.
And then-
Next chapter. Yeah.
Let's fucking
And
go.
if she's there, we have a plan. And if that all fails, we try and rescue her on the sacrifice night. Get from there.
My brain hurts
if
for all
it-
this thinking. Let's get to some action.
If she's not there and we have time to do a long rest, I can change some spells up and I can
We do have time to do
be able to
this.
find her. Because I can
Mhm.
get.
Well, it ain't kicking off till tomorrow, so we can potentially rest. if we need
Locate
something tomorrow.
animal or plants, locate object. I can get both of
We're
these.
just saying as well. If they do decide that they need to sacrifice it, maybe then we can rally the guardsmen to our assistance. Right.
We
You
can
mean the soldiers?
Yeah. Sorry,
Yep.
I keep calling them the guard. The soldiers, aren't they? Specifically.
So what's this camp here then? Is that like a military camp? Because I know you said there was something like military.
This
camp
is the military area. There's like a platoon of guys or whatever
Is
there.
it-
Camp.
Okay.
It's only a few, and they're the king's men. They're not Gosses. It would be unlikely.
Yeah,
Well,
but I'm
I
pretty
think they
sure
might be reticent.
they may not be willing to just let the lizard men burn a woman though.
Yes, I agree.
Do you know what I mean?
True.
Like
True. That's a possibility.
human sacrifice will be seen as I'd
Yes.
hope as
Well,
a fucking bad thing.
Probably frowned upon.
As I got from the guards, they do not recommend that we interact with the lizard people because it is dangerous. So they
You,
may
you
be.
haven't seen any direct evidence of danger here today, by the way.
Yes, I agree. Yes, he's saying nonsense, isn't it? But we can use it.
But I still think when we're in there listening to this conversation, the meet or whatever, if you're set out there setting traps ready for the next day in case we need them, might be maybe wise to be planning ahead, making
We'll
sure
keep
we
our
can.
eyes out for anything we can do.
Right, let's go back to the lizard camp. I forget
Yes.
his name. Fuck.
You can head back to Sasakath's tent.
No, I meant the what do they call it? Fuck.
The mammoth tent?
No, the whole
Mycandavu.
Mycandavu.
The Mycandavu.
Mycandavu. That's it. Let's go back to the Mycandavu.
See if we can get more food out of them. I think.
Well, last time we traded, so it's not exactly. We're not really gaining. We didn't really gain anything. Whatever. Let's go.
Absolutely. Yeah, and you have your horses with you, so you're able to trot them back to the camp. And evening is coming in, but you certainly wouldn't call it dusk yet. The frivolities,
Sure.
are
Frivolities.
changing. There are less humans around. The drow that you've been able to see for most of the day are even drunker and even more raucous. The
Legendary.
air I would like to capture with them is almost like a biker gang. You know, like sometimes you go to a festival or an open air event and there are just guys in black leather getting incredibly pissed. And it's a bit like that. You know, they've got this air of slight hostility to them, but they themselves, they manage to behave until a certain point, and then one of them starts to flash and be a bit violent, and the others grab him and hold him down. They're doing a good job of being self-policing. The lizard folk kind of don't react too much when stuff like that happens, but you can hear, there are some dwarf kids that cry upon seeing drow just fighting in the dirt, in the mud. But by and large, yeah, things are heading towards evening. And the last hour or so of the day before you could certainly call it evening, and you think maybe your dusk invitation is coming to bear, passes gently and easily. You are able to find some rather delicious cooked chicken being served up in kind of like leaf husk bowls with carrots and vegetables that are they've been roasted, I suppose you'd say.
I eat the bowl.
Yeah, delicious.
Yeah.
Give me an insight check.
Sure. 14. No, 16.
The person who has served you
14.
approves of you eating the bowl.
16. It was actually 16. Shit.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, same.
Good. Bit of roughage,
Yeah.
Fiber's important.
I agree.
Good.
And with a little bit of time, are you going to make your way straight to the mammoth tent, or are you going to go back to Sasakath's tent?
Is there a point to go to Sasakath's? Ooh, this might. It might be a good time to start to detect magic. I don't know.
Okay. I'll cast Detect Magic, and when I'm near enough to both Sasakat's and the mammoth tent, and I'll check them both. And anything else around me. Is that okay?
I've got a mouthful of peanut butter.
Oh, legend. It's
Just
literally my
eating peanut
favorite.
butter.
It's literally my favorite thing in the world. I like to eat spoonfuls full of peanut butter while I'm cooking.
At Sasakath's tent, you just hit magic, and you're on the outside of it. But You'll recall me describing the smoke coming out the top as being full of flecks of light and sparks, and this confirms that this is definitely magic.
Huh.
Divination, if you want the school,
Divination.
which tallies up with what you saw him doing earlier on.
Yeah.
The tent, when you approach it, is open. The flap is peeled back, and it is empty. There's no sign of the rabbit guts and things that you saw earlier on in the day. But there is a bedroll laid out, and some other things that are kind of bundled up in the corner on the far side of the fire. The fire is well stocked, so it should stay in for a while now.
Very cozy.
There isn't an awful lot of magic otherwise. You occasionally see a lizard person with, in particular, bits. They have kind of wooden charms around their neck that have faint magical kind of weight to them, but it shimmers and it flickers rather than having a persistent effect. You imagine that these things might be fragments of other magical objects taken apart and repurposed for jewelry, for shamanic stuff. And so their power is partly present, but fragmented.
Okay.
It might even be possible for them to reassemble these things in some way. Sorry,
You know,
yeah.
seems entirely appropriate.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, if I'm not getting anything outright like that, like what I would expect if, I don't know, some sort of, it wouldn't be divination, whatever the School of Magic would cover, dimensions or illusion for hiding her that way.
So for
Then-
example, you're not in a, you can pretty safely conclude that these people aren't all actually just humans that are disguising themselves as lizard folk, or
Well, that's a
these
relief.
tents are definitely here, or things like that.
Yeah.
You can be pretty confident of that.
Right. In that case, I think we'll go sit around, or I'll wander for the 10 minutes of the spell, and then if I catch nothing else, I'm just going to sit near enough to Sasakat's tent for when he deems it ready.
Well, so Sasakat's tent you saw was empty.
It's the mammoth tent that.
Sorry,
The
in that case, I'll go to the mammoth tent.
It's the mammoth tent that you're heading towards, and the mammoth tent you could see from Sasakat's and the setting sun to the west silhouettes it quite prominently. You realise that the bit of ground that it's on is slightly higher than most of the rest of the camp. It's not as high as where you were sat earlier, but certainly it's going to be the most solid. And you will approach it, and the guide out shape of this whole thing, the heavy canvas that makes up the tent, the mammoth tusks themselves, to your detective vision, gleam in this way where these are themselves wondrous creatures you came across once when you were learning this spell. You were shown a piece of unicorn hair, and it had this similar kind of iridescent gleam that isn't indicative perhaps of a spell in effect or anything like that, so much as the creature itself has got some magic in its blood, and the antlers themselves have a certain strength that you can only imagine what it took to cut them and to shape them. And to make ivory from this would be, well, let's say you'd have some very luxurious chess pieces or piano keys. The fire from the center of the mammoth tent, as you approach it, you all hear it crackle, and you realize that you are yourselves moving as part of a flow of tide. There are other lizard folk moving in the same direction as you, and you all see the first sparks and the first billows of smoke come from the center of the mammoth tent. You realize all of you have good enough passive insight to feel eyes on you and catching the white flowers on your lapels and leaving you again, reassured that you are there as guests. And standing at the open doorway, the open flap now, it was closed, it was hanging loose before, is a very large lizardman. Taller than any of you, as broad as two of you,
Wow.
with a heavy iron-headed hammer strapped across his, across his back, slung in a way where he could draw it off at a moment's notice and cave skulls. He is looking out upon the crowd, and some of the lizard folk look up directly at him, and others straight past. Are you all four of you making your way inside?
No.
No.
Where
There are
would be appropriate for me to kill?
there are other lizard folk taking seats in the mud, or that some have hay bales that they've carried with them, pitching up around the outside of the tent. It's almost like that, they want to be there, they want to be part, but they haven't been made welcome inside. So there are other people pitching up. Yeah.
Somewhere I could sit with a vantage point that could potentially see like the back entrance to said tent, or is there only one entrance? Although I suppose you can get in a tent from anywhere.
Yeah.
Back in a sec.
I think I'm just going to go in.
Yeah, you go in. I'm going to sit outside.
It's like
You'll
it's slightly higher.
Yeah, okay. So it might be a bit hard for me.
To get a vantage point, in the sense that you might be able to climb on top of the frame of someone else's tent, but beyond that, you're not going to be able to get any height on this without
A bit conspicuous.
Can I? Do that?
Oh.
Yeah, so you can see, let's say there's a tent nearby that has a particularly good bit of framework to it, and a stack of chickens that you could, in crates that you could probably climb up pretty well. I won't make you roll to try and climb it, but if you want to be unseen, I'd get you to make a stealth roll.
Can I not and just sit up there, like drinking some water or something and just chilling as if I'm just watching the proceedings?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm going to roll one die, but I'm not going to tell you why.
Stealth through looking like you belong
No,
there.
not even really, just,
You're happy for people to see you, you're just trying to be, brazen about it, or, nonchalant.
Just don't
just
give a fuck.
nonchalant. I'm not, they know I'm here anyway, so them knowing where I am, we're not hiding anything.
Fair. I'll just go in the tent.
I just want to be able to see. They're not going to be able to hide. Presumably a decent vantage point. They're not going to be able to hide her leaving.
Sorry,
Jed will make me roll for it or whatever to see it. So yeah, okay.
Right, so what's happening? We're going in, yeah?
Sam, by gaining a bit of height, you can get a fairly good view of the tent tops and the more major thoroughfares, and some of the detail that I tried to give you with the owl's eye view earlier on, realizing that actually what felt a bit earlier on like an almost random layout and kind of higgledy-piggledy vibe of different tents and different structures being erupted definitely has more of a structure once you can view it from above like this and from within it. You're near the center of everything, although you can see from your perspective more to the south and more to the east. than you can to the north or to the west. There is on the Mammoth tent one entrance that's open currently, at least. Although, yeah, it's a tent. You could flap open any part of it, probably.
Yeah, I'm assuming these are kind of like Mongol tents as well. I'm imagining.
Yeah, that's a good way of putting it. Yeah.
Yeah. The way you described it, made out of hides and things. I'm just thinking
Yeah.
Marco Polo.
Yeah.
The TV program.
Yeah, that's a good way to think of it. And what you have here is, yeah, as I've said to you, you can see in through the open flap, and the rest of you entering will make out these four. They are wooden benches raised in tiers, so that each one might fit, small clusters of lizard folk. And if there is to be, yeah, you can quite comfortably sit 3 on a bench, 4 sets of 3, so 12 on a side, and people are piling in. Who was it that checked it out earlier? It was
Me.
Gav with the cat. So you see the one that was sweeping earlier, and you can make it out by a distinctive kind of silveryness around its shoulders and down its arms. That is still holding that broom. It's holding a straw broom, but it is stood near the fire now, with its eyes closed and its chin in the air. Satakath is sat near the front on a bench and stands and looks directly at the 3 of you as you enter. And with much more human feeling gestures, beckons the 3 of you over and points to the bench immediately behind where he is. So you would be on the second tier.
Seats of honor.
I will take up our position then. He'd
Yep.
like us to sit here, gentlemen.
That's it.
Lord Master Calf.
You're able to spot more looking around now. The feathers that you were given, Sasakath has one tucked into his necklace, and he has a necklace with some teeth and some claws that have come from birds of prey, perhaps some talons, and a couple of these white feathers woven into it. And sitting behind you are 6 other young lizard folk, each with similar white feathers. And you notice others, and others have a kind of holly with red bushes, with red berries, something like that, green leaves and a red bush. There is a heather with a kind of purplish hue.
The 6 with white behind us.
Yep.
I'd like to start reading their minds.
Yep, sure. So you're ping you ping up your detect thoughts again.
Oh shit, it's only once a day, isn't it?
Yeah, you've used that.
Fuck. Oh, in that case. Booger. Yeah.
Bugger indeed.
Bugger it.
So you've been able to make out a holly, which is a green leaf with red berries. You've been able to make out a heather. You've got the white flowers, and there is a yellow flower as well that you're able to see milling around the room. The one in the middle with the broom does not have any marked flowers. It has grass leaves, kind of threaded into a rope or a yarn around its neck, but that's the only plant life that it has on it.
And does anyone else have similar to that bloke there, to the janitor?
The one with the
That's
broom.
a better word. Yeah.
Give me a perception check.
7.
Not that you can see. You're all you've
9.
clocked these 4 different factions which matched up with what you learned before, and that's what you're going to kind of learn, and that feels like enough of a revelation for you that the fact that this guy doesn't have it, I don't know, maybe he's a neutral party, maybe he's some kind of chair, he certainly isn't taking a seat. So
Maybe he's the speaker. You notice so, I take it everyone's clocked on that they're all the markings of each tribe.
Yeah, I have now.
the 3 of you in there will notice these things.
And obviously Sasakath has been generous enough to let us attend as part of his tribe.
Holly,
Sure.
there's Holly, there's a broom. It's the white flowers.
There's holly,
Yeah.
there's the white leaf, or the white flower, and the white feather. You were saying.
There's a white flower,
Yeah.
a purple heather, a holly with red berries, and a yellow flower.
Okay. You did say feathers earlier.
Sorry.
Yeah. Okay. All right then. And is there any major difference in the look of the lizards wearing each of these things?
Not
So-
that your eyes can pick out. I'm going to defer to an earlier roll here.
That's right. Yeah, so
Each
it's
of
not
each
like
of the groups appears comparatively diverse, or
Mhm.
as diverse as it is, as homogenous as they all
Yeah.
are. There is
yeah, so there's no clear warrior clan that wears there's
no.
yeah.
The biggest lizardman that you can make out in the room was the one standing at the open flap, and he walks back towards you and has a white flower tucked into his necklace also. But he sits on the front bench a little away from Saskath and has his chin in the air. Firmly so. And the light of the flames shimmers and crackles and casts light and shadows alike against the tent walls and the bellies of those closer or further away. And after a little bit, there is chatter, there is buzz, there is bubbling. But after a little bit, Sam, you notice from the outside that those who are sat outdoors are being quite quiet. They are apprehensive. You won't
Okay.
notice from the outside that similar kind of visible factionalism.
Okay.
You know,
Spotting.
people stand and they move around. The people are quiet and perhaps you might ascertain tense, but attentive and mobile. Some don't sit, some stand, some pace. They flick their
Yeah.
heads around, they look up to you and then down again.
Sounds like the air is thick with anticipation.
And after a moment, and once you're sure that everyone is settled, the lizard in the center taps its broom on the dirt, the hard, unmudded dirt here in the mammoth tent, twice. And the inside of the mammoth tent falls quiet. Gex, you don't speak Draconic, and so you may not understand some of the following. It will come aloud as
Cool.
And, try to quietly translate what we can for Gex
Okay.
without
But-
being too disruptive, if possible.
But for those of you who do
Wait,
speak
Gav,
Draconic,
Gav, couldn't you just telepathically translate it?
Yeah,
Like silently. Just tell me what he's saying
Yes,
in
good
real
call.
time.
Yeah.
Instead
Yeah.
of getting in trouble.
Yeah.
No, telepathy. My telepathy isn't magic.
Cool.
Yeah, that's what I mean. But
So-
means you don't have to disrupt.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. No, that's the
Yeah.
thing.
Absolutely. You're not sitting there casting a spell, or it's not visible.
Oh,
What's
sat
the
there
range on
whispering.
that?
Don't know.
What's the range?
I think it's
Is it-
60 feet. I think I have to see the person though.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So otherwise, I would have just called out for Catlin, and we'd be all
Yeah,
caught by
family.
now.
Kathleen!
So
Creature you can see within 60 feet of you. Yeah, afraid so.
Question about certain spells. Locate animal. Does that work on humans?
You would want locate. Ooh, locate. Are you talking locate creature?
I've got locate animal or plant, and I have locate object as
Okay,
spell.
so
I
animals
need
and
a wee-
plants is a
But
specific.
Don't
Like
have locate person as a
so the-
spell. It's no.
locate. Yeah, so locate creature gives you a specific thing. Otherwise, locate animals or plants is like, yeah, okay, I want to find like the nearest dog. So it's a specific kind of beast or plant. So right, okay, where is the nearest bird? Where is the nearest fish? Where is the nearest sheep? And you can be as specific or as general as you want with that, but it is specifically beast type creatures, of which humans are not. What you might be looking for is locate creature. And that allows you to name a specific individual creature, or a creature of a specific type. So you say, right, okay, where is the nearest dog? Where is the nearest unicorn? Where is the nearest pixie? Where is
Mm-hmm.
and that's within 1,000 feet of you, but that's a 4th level spell.
No.
Yeah.
But I do have locate object, and if Gav knows of something that she would be likely carrying, that is pretty much the same sort of thing within 1,000 feet.
yeah,
And if he's got telepathy, he could imprint, I guess, the look of an object on me.
it's not something you're doing now, is it?
No, so I'm just preparing ideas.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
That's why I'm not talking in Welsh accent.
Sorry, I've done away.
1 second, fellas. Sorry.
Okay. Did I miss anything?
No.
Okay, good. Got a cold beer. These lizard folk are some wacky chappies.
Well, we have to be very careful.
Jesus.
Nah, I'll be right. I can punch people more than once. I think I'll be alright.
Yeah, you can punch people more than once, but can you punch 1,000 people more than once?
I could punch 1,000 people once each, I think.
Or
If
at the same
if,
time?
if I get a break, maybe a 10-minute break halfway through, I think I could do it.
Yeah, I don't think we'd be that lucky.
I didn't hear no bell.
Exactly. Yeah. Jesse never hears a bell. Too drunk.
No. The ringing of bells drives him enraged instead. But yeah, the broom clatters against the floor, and the speech opens up. And for those of you who speak Draconic or are being translated onto it, they speak, saying, "Treasured, earnest, brave, and honoured families of the Mycandavu, of the great gathering of our peoples and our way of life. We come together tonight to discuss and to honor and to celebrate and to decide a number of matters. We shall determine territories within them all, and for the coming seasons, we shall determine our passages for winter and the allocation of. And I will summarize things rather than reading it all off to you. But there's this kind of preamble where they talk about okay, so there's business and there's admin and there's
Things that need to be taken care of for the next year.
yeah.
Community like announcements.
Yes, this is exactly it. There is, the things that are probably actually the purpose of a meeting like this. That are, okay, what are we going to do for how the fuck are we going to survive winter this year? Because we're all fucking cold-blooded. Okay, well, have you considered going down to the coast? Yeah, but the coast sucks. And then the center roll one raises its broom and introduces, and of the and from the corners of our land, chosen to speak and chosen to be heard. You are aware of the names. But bearing Holly. Give me a minute. Sorry, I'm finding that I've got these in the wrong part of my notes. Bearing Holly, we have Shahir. Bearing Heather, we have Sililos. Bearing Buttercups. Sorry, lads, I've laid this out really weirdly. Which I'm spelling YREV. And bearing Ice Petal. Suskath. And Suskath will stand in front of you all and raise, as have Chahia and Silos and Irav. There's a little bit of tension, and you guys again have good enough passive insight to note the large lizardman sat next to Suskath tense a bit when the older lizard stands. And he's looking around. Actually, I can get you all to give me insight checks. Those of you who are present. I'm afraid not, Sam.
Yeah, it's fine. I'm just listening.
18.
Shit.
20.
Damn.
Gab, that wasn't so good for you?
5.
5, yeah, okay. But Gex and Vic, you both were good enough. There was an exchange of glances between a few others in the front bench. Between this large one next to Suskath and a few others in the front bench. Well, not that, which is those which have stood.
How far away are we from the front?
So you are back one row, so you're on the second of 4.
Okay.
I'm the whisper, very lowly speak to Obadiah and say, didn't the priest say that there was 2 lizard men that visited him? This one must be his life ward, the big one here. I was
priest?
thinking. Not
Farts?
the priest, not Tharks, the other ones. The priest in the water temple.
Oh,
Ganthet, he was called.
yeah.
He said, Sasakath and another lizard man turned up on it.
God, I
So
really don't remember last week's.
Yeah, it'll probably be this guy.
there's gonna be more like his life ward or whatever. The rest of these is looking rather wary.
I'll let it play out.
That's-
And what was I say? And then the one with the broom will point past Sasakath and say, Sasakath invites guests to attend. This is uncommon but permitted. You who listen in, you who are guests, stand and speak your names.
Jethro Chadwick.
And Torok. Torok of the Turtles from the Southlands. Far, far south. I'm sure we are
I will nudge Torok
more
to stop talking.
similar than you know. And I'm going to be speaking in Draconic as well. So they
Yeah.
Oh, did he say that in common?
He said it
No.
in Draconic.
Draconic.
If
Well, I
Gav...
will have translated.
Okay, yeah,
Yeah,
I will
you
still.
can translate it.
I'll say, Jethro Chadwick in common.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll introduce myself.
Yeah.
I'm Obadiah Phineas Black of Port Vadden. Port Marn, even.
The one with the broom waves onwards. Another matter comes before us, is brought before us by the bearers of the ice petal, by haruspics and foretelling and foreboding and spilled blood. Sasakath informs me that a threat has been intercepted, interfered with, and must be decided upon by vote and council and consensus and trial. And Sasakath remains stood, hasn't sat, and will walk forward towards the fire, and again has this kind of crookedness, has this kind of shake to his body. You haven't seen this thing, this one move in the same kind of way. But it has an unsteadiness on its feet that you haven't seen. Sasakath has an unsteadiness on his feet that you haven't seen from any of the other lizard folk, and it's only now that you realise quite how old he must be among them. And you've all got decent enough passive insight to realise that for a lizardman to live this long, he must be very dangerous indeed, or very smart. And he speaks loudly to the group and says, I, like others here, have delved into the secrets that can be truthful or can be very clever, entertaining lies. And the secrets here revealed to me a growing threat to the south, born in a warm bed and whispering to cold stones and shimmering lights. And a light will come. I believe, and others here have told me the same, that tomorrow, on our day of festivity, a wry light will cross the sky, and this comfortable child shall erupt into grave force This is the secret I have uncovered. She is a threat to us and many others. And we must decide her fate. For I would not act with such gravity without speaking before you and to you, and speaking and being heard, hearing alike. The big one in front of you stands, and the other three who were indicated to speak stand. And Saskath waves back towards your bench, and the big one in front of you sits again. But it sits, slowly with some reticence. Your insight checks were good before. There's enough of a bit of reticence here. But mostly the tent is quiet, aside from the crackle of the fire, the large fire that illuminates around Saskath. He is backlit from here. The speaker who holds the broom waves over towards Shahir, who wears holly. And says, Shahir, what know you of this? What say you and yours who listen to you? And Shahir says, a threat can be avoided. A threat can be diverted. If this is a human, it can be dealt with, bargained. If it seeks to gain, we too, perhaps, can gain. And there is some chattering. There is some chattering of teeth. There is some excited gabble. Those of you who speak Draconic will hear behind you, amongst other things, this kind of suggestion of bargaining. Bargaining? Are we bargaining now? Is that a bad idea? That seems like a bad idea. Maybe we could do that. Maybe. Sometimes it works. I did a bargain with some humans. And Silalos, who wears the purple heather, stands and says, no, it is a threat. He doesn't wait to be invited to speak. He says, if it is a threat, we must kill her. We must. Sasakath, are you sure that she is a threat? And the big one in front of you, wearing the white flower, stands also at this point and says, I agree we should kill her. I agree we should have killed her days ago. And Saskath raises his hands, but suddenly there is a shouting. And it's difficult to pick up with, but you can hear different shouts of kill her, no, we must trade, we must investigate, we must learn more, we must bargain. We should free her, we should have no meddling in human affairs. These are shouts from bench to bench to bench. The five who, so the one with the broom, the four who were invited to speak are all stood, and the largest one, who is sat in front of you three, are the only ones who stand. And after a moment of shouting, the one with the broom, the speaker, strides over to the largest one ahead of you and raises his broom above his head and strikes that one, the largest one, clear on the snout with the head of his broom.
Oof.
And the room goes quiet. And the one with the broom says out loud, Burakach, of ice white flowers, you were not invited to speak, and you are not invited to be heard. And it's a little early. We're not going to call it there. but I'm interested to hear what you guys are thinking at this point.
I want to know why Sasuke thinks she's a threat first. I want to know more about that. Like, we've decided to rescue her, but like, if she's the goddamn Antichrist, maybe that's not a good idea.
But possibly killing her is the thing that triggers it.
Yep,
There's
that
the
too.
other things. Yes.
So yeah, I need to know more, basically.
Yeah, we need this guy to keep talking. All these guys.
What are you? It's a curious thing to just be willing to kill a person without even saying what they could be doing or summoning or bringing into this world.
I'm not speaking out loud.
No,
I don't want to get bonked.
no.
I am speaking out loud, and I'm also going to chuckle that the big one has been slapped by his elder.
I move about a foot further away from Tor on the bench.
These things are not uncommon to my people either.
So
Our
you've learned,
elders give us a slapping too.
the biggest one here in front of you is called Burakach.
But a catch.
Mm.
See, why do you want to kill this girl, but a catch, or any of you? What is the threat she poses? I'm curious to know. We're all curious to know the threat she poses. These things can't just be divinated from nowhere. You know, can't just be a feeling in the air.
Saskath calls out and says, "You have seen something of my ways, and the means by which I and others here resolve secrets. Chahir behind me knows something similar. Do you not, Chahir?" And Shahid steps forward a little bit and says, "Truly, I feel curiosity. I hear of bounty and comfort and warmth and free space to ride upon with what you would bring to us, old one, Sasakath. That is what I learn, and that is what I have heard from the dabbling in secrets."
Still, there's not much sense in what you're saying. There's no real information in what is being said.
If we bring her, we can trade her. She is the bargain. Something that which writhes upon entrails and shines within stars and lurks within shadows has a taste for what that girl that my old friend here has bought and found. It has a taste for what is under her blood, perhaps. It will reward us. Reward. And the word reward in Draconic sounds, you can realize, quite close to the common word. This is possibly a corruption. This is possibly a word that the lizard folk have learned from townsfolk rather than it being native to them as a concept.
And is this being of this realm, or is it of another realm? Because I have found that these things cannot be trusted much of the time. They may offer one thing, but then take all you have with the other.
one with the broom looks upon you and raises the broom and says, "You are a guest and do not understand the custom.
I shuffle further
You-
away from Torok.
You ask good questions, and so I will hear them. But speak no further. Merely listen." And it doesn't bonk you with the broom.
Oh. I bonk
But
him with my stick. No, I don't.
As you say, Elder, with a slight bow.
And then the one with the broom turns to Shahir and Saskath and says, "Answer these questions. What do you know of the threat? Why is it in this girl?" And both of the older lizard folk there by the fire look to one another, and then back to the one with the broom, and say, "We know not, Shisto." Sasakath sees threat. Shahir sees reward. Bargaining. Perhaps this is a difference of attitude, of how we read the auspices. And she still looks to Sasakath and then back to the one with the broom and says, "Perhaps Sasakath is afraid to learn what is offered. Perhaps Burakach is afraid to be smart. Perhaps lizard folk would not do well to simply kill at every chance." And there is a furore. No one is quiet for a brief sudden moment. This is a very rude thing to suggest.
I'll stand while this is happening.
Yeah.
Kind of indicating that I'd like to speak. Or doing whatever other thing people have done before speaking before.
Yeah. No one else. Yes. No one else is standing, but there is a moment of loud noise. Burkach stays quiet, but begins shouting, "No, kill her, kill her!" And lots of people are shouting, "Just kill!" Just, not even conjugating the verb. Just, no, killing is good. Killing is good. Hunting is good. Eating is good. Killing is good. We can absolutely kill our way out of our problems. Killed humans to solve problems before. But you stand, and some eyes fall on you. And after a little bit, the one with the broom looks up to you and says, "You have not spoken yet. So speak now. Quickly."
Perhaps this entity, this creature that bargains for this child's life, fears this child. You could hear out this creature, this thing, this devil of fire and death.
Cold stone and bright shimmering.
You could indeed bargain with it. But do you know what your reward would be? For we have chased men who have bargained with this creature, this devil of the green comet. We have brought them to their end. They have sought to summon fire and demons from other places. You may indeed see opportunity and reward, but we know this reward is I'm going to use a draconic phrase like the two sides of a coin, but it'll be specifically draconic so they get it. It'll be
spoiled meat, maybe.
Yeah, it'll be meat that is rotten on the inside. And by that stage, it will be too late. You would do well to listen to the calm voice. Because after all, this is a daughter of a great man you speak of. A lord of the human folk. And if she is indeed killed or bargained away, the war the humans currently embark upon will not last forever. And this lord and his people will come seeking answers.
I'm going to say give me a persuasion check, Gav.
Yeah.
All right.
It was a good speech, and you've laid things out quite well.
Is it 16 plus 2? 18. Nice.
Pretty good. Okay, cool.
Nice.
Yeah.
And I'll sit down after that.
Yeah, there's a decent amount of quiet in the room. The broom does not come down on your head. You've been invited to speak. But the one with the broom will look over to Saskath and say, tell me whether you agree with this. Tell us all what the truth is that you know. And Saskath says, I agree. I feel fear of what this girl may bring, but I do not know what we should do. She stores bargaining will bring ruin. Killing her may bring ruin. Freeing her will bring ruin. Tell me, lizard folk, do we keep her hidden away? Bury her? Tell me if that is what we should do. And Irev, who had the yellow flower, stands similarly and says, yes, we should hide her, cache her, bury her away. My folk have a hidden place. None of you know of it. I can take her away. And again, Burakech, who had worn the white flower but had insisted that she should be killed, stands. And Slilas, who wore the purple heather, stands, and the other two and one behind him all stand, and another one on each bench stands. And Burakech rushes forward and grabs the broom from the hand of the lizardman who had been holding it and brings it down upon his head hard. And I think, fellas, we will leave it there because it's just before 10.
Bonk.
All right.
Yeah.
Takes
Well, that's just not good enough. They can't
broom
hide her.
and bonks.
So
broom
who?
man.
Sorry, Jed. Just to say,
Yeah.
just so
Yeah.
I know, who was the person who said we have a secret place we can hide her away?
So Irev, who had the yellow flower, said, we can hide her away. We have a secret place. Slilos, who had the purple flower, has stood, and a bunch of people on his bench, lizard folk on his benches have stood, but there have been a couple of others on each set of benches that have stood now with Burketch. Burketch has strode forward to snatch the broom and hit the other one with it.
And he was wearing the white flower.
Burketch was wearing a white flower, which means he was traveling with Sasakath, but has already expressed dissidence.
What an asshole.
And Irev was the purple flower.
Irev had the yellow flower. Slilos had the purple flower. Irev wanted to cash her away, had a secret place.
Okay, cool.
Shahir, who had the red berries, the holly leaves, wanted to bargain and do a deal. Sorry, I know it's a lot of names. It's a lot of made-up names, and so it's hard to keep tracks of things. And I know it was me talking for a little while.
Sounds like it would have been a very bad idea to fight these lizard people because they seem like cool guys.
Some of them are cool guys. Some of them are real dickheads. I've got a bit of a fondness
That's
for
fine.
lizard folk, if I'm honest, but
Yeah, it's fine.
a bit of a soft spot for them.
Jethro likes
I
them.
mean,
Yeah.
I enjoyed killing them in Dark Alliance.
They're direct.
Also reasonable. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Sam, I'm sorry you haven't had much to do for the last half
I've
an hour or
just been
so, but
listening.
yeah.
It's fine. It would have been the same if I was sat in there.
Yeah.
you get it relayed later.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. But
It's fine. It was the contingency plan. I'm happy to play my role.
yeah.
You should.
You still may need
You
that.
should just fucking Lee Harvey Oswald Burketch or something.
Jed, just to say, I've just been reading telepathic because I
Yep.
wanted to know if I could place images in people's heads.
Yeah.
Which I can't. But if I have any free spell slots at level 2 or higher, I can use them to cast this spell with them. That's
yeah.
a
Okay. Yeah.
telepathic thing. So
Yes, and I'm just seeing that now myself. Okay, in which case, we will
doesn't
remember
matter.
that for
Just
next
for
time.
for next time.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. Yes, you can cast. See, it's a spell that you know. That's great. Cool. Anybody else needing to check anything with their rulings or anything like that while we're taking feedback?
No.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, I'm sorry. You guys have asked some really good questions and kind of done some good digging. You've rolled well enough while you're looking for things. Caitlin's in a specific place, and I'm not going to tell you where, but let's say you just haven't asked or looked in the right place yet.
My tiny
Yeah,
hut.
Maybe one of these tents is just a tiny hut.
In the hotel.
Yeah,
She's in our bedroom.
Yeah.
In the hotel.
You'll get there and she'll be there in her underwear.
Yeah. Howdy, boys.
Hey, time. You've never done a turtle before.
I do have an idea of something we can do to keep a track of these.
We just track the yellow people, right? Track the yellow flower. Find where they're going to take a ambush, murder.
Well, it's probably a good idea to like Tor is going to suggest to give them all something because we don't know. Yeah, the yellow people are the violent ones, but there could be other sneaky ones that are trying something else. But we'll see how it plays out.
We give them all a gift.
Yeah,
Give them
the
some track.
yellow ones are the ones that suggest that they've got a place to hide her. The purple ones are wanting to kill her.
In fact, we don't have to give them gifts. All we have to do is search out yellow flowers, holly, or snow blossoms, or whatever they were called.
Yeah,
If they're not native to these parts.
potentially, but that could also give us false positives.
Yep.
Where if we give them something unique to a degree, or even slip something unique into their possession, within a degree.
It'd be worth finding small things that are unique that we can do that with.
Mm-hmm. We have a
Future.
day, well, not a day, but a bit of time back at the town tomorrow before the summer solstice.
Yeah, that'd be too. Yeah. Okay. Be too late. We want to track them as they leave here.
Yeah, but they won't be leaving here until they've done what they need to do, I don't feel.
Well, if they're about to have a scrap, I'm going to suggest well, who knows?
Hmm.
I was going to suggest get them to bring her in so we can question her.
Don't know if they're going to necessarily have a full-blown scrap, though, are they, at the minute? They've, you
Yeah, I don't know.
you got people that do want to kick off and stuff,
First
but when you've
and
got like
surely.
a couple of thousand fucking lizard men around, and say 5 of them want to kick off, then it depends on who's following who.
Yeah.
So you don't know yet. We don't know exactly what's going to happen, but yeah.
Before I lose you, can I ask?
We could also just pick a stone up and carve something into it and then slip it into their pocket.
Gex and Vic, you guys are still in the table?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can I get you to roll me a d12 each?
Sure.
A d12.
A D12? No.
That looks like a D12. Oops.
I do not like these auto rollers.
10, I think.
Let me give you guys a d12 each then out of a bag.
I think I
Do you
got
want
a
me
10.
to log
I
back
think this
in,
is a
or does it
D12.
matter?
No, wait, that's
No,
a
it's fine.
D10.
It's one that. And
Oh,
there's
I
one
should have
here.
just done it in Discord. Fuck's sake.
2.
got
It made
6.
no difference.
Okay, yeah. Cool. Okay, thanks very much.
Alright.
I'll change the colour of that next time.
You won't need to keep those. I'll just take them away.
Yeah, I don't like those auto rollers because it doesn't feel like rolling it.
No,
You know?
sure. I mean, they're not too bad for randomization, but I know a practical roll is fun to do.
Yeah, actually rolling dice is fun.
Yeah,
They're
I
only
want to
good
know
if you
if
have to roll like 10d6 or something.
Yeah.
I like it. I like doing it practical because then if I fuck up, I know it's me that's fucked up.
Yeah, well, yeah.
I don't feel like I've been cheated by the board, or by the thinking.
Cool.